break down these rocks, an interesting choice. Now, Sacsri's going to be expanding to the right, which is why, you know, go back to cross-taking the base to the bottom of TaeJa. Like, that's why it's like such like set up nicely, because the Zergs do usually take that corner base. But now cutting off those rocks, it's such a weird attack path, like into the natural.
Hang on. Stream's dead. I gotta try and fix this. Shit. Oh, I'm local recording in case it doesn't get fixed. Restart the stream. So for those maybe listening, hopefully you're listening. Hopefully the stream's up and running. We had a very harsh hiccup. I don't know what happened. We did not lose connection again, and there was no lag. It was just simply connection to Twitch was lost. But there was some harassment on the 30, got cleaned up, led to this engagement here in the middle of the map, and now you're caught up. And the Mutalisks are doing quite well. Woodmines are going to burrow, but they won't quite get shots off, sadly. And the Banelings are reigning supreme.
Yeah. Well, I was just going over like how the attack path is now really weird for TaeJa. You know, he broke down the rocks to the right, so he has to go all the way around onto a place that has pretty decent creep. I mean, Sacsri, you know, he didn't take an amazing fight because most of it wasn't on that creep, but it still pushed it back.
Well, that's been kind of one of the problems. We haven't really seen TaeJa do a lot of creep cleanup in a lot of these matches. It has been pretty much going for the throat. And I feel that's very much so what ended up being the case with this attack. But trading out army value for either player at this point doesn't really benefit one or the other. It's mostly about trying to keep that economy safe and sound behind this. But despite having 3 bases, Sacsri is on 4. So TaeJa, he's kind of losing ground. It's a tug-of-war that he's slowly falling behind on.
A little bit. The mutas were cold, though. Like, there were, like, 10, then he lost, like, 7, remade a few, so they're still not very high. In fact, I don't think that's enough to pick off a Widowmine.
He's actually lost 10, wow.
6. I can't remember. But basically, like, they aren't going to snipe medevacs very quickly at all, and, you know, sniping Widowmines are going to be even more dangerous because there are so few mutas. Like, they're very important. But again, with this attack path, you know, like, it's so windy, it's back here. Okay, going into the brush is kind of a cool... Oh, the Widow... Okay, that was not... That was going to be a better Widowmine hit. Oh, all the Banelings getting at the Marauder, though. That was really bad.
Well, it took about 4 restarts, and I don't know if it's actually fixed or not, guys, but we are local recording at this point, so I might just try and rebroadcast the local recording. Have you missed much, but sadly there has been a lot of action, and it's mostly been army value, trading in the middle of the map, this sort of perpetual tug-of-war.
TaeJa is doing it, though, like, even with the kind of the windy attack path, just running across, you know? Wait, can you break on those rocks? Who broke on those rocks? I don't know.
I don't know, I was busy trying to fix stream stuff, sorry.
Yeah, I actually, it was probably TaeJa, right? Like, why would Sacsri do it? But now it's actually really bad. Sacsri has to just defend the back. He has to make note that this back is always going to be vulnerable as well. And he does have to eventually clean up those rocks blocking that middle path.
Ugh. But breaking through the back door like this, while it is surprising, Sacsri does have a lot of Banelings right here. And when the second round morphing in, if the Mutalisks can live through this, he'll be able to push TaeJa back, and TaeJa's going to have to retreat through a very tiny little choke, which is in itself very scary. But Sacsri doesn't have any more Banelings. He's running out of juice, and TaeJa looks like he is going to deal a lot of damage to the main. This might just end the game. The supply counts aren't really that different, but it's the effectiveness of those supply counts that really matter.
He just, like, forced his way through this game. Sacsri kept attacking, and defending, and TaeJa still won out.
Well, Sacsri lost quite a bit through this attack, not through economy. Again, a surprisingly perpetual army game that's been going on back and forth. No place really lost a lot of workers, not a lot of harass. But the one thing I do worry about for TaeJa a little bit more than Sacsri is if Sacsri keeps holding on at this pace, if he barely keeps living, TaeJa's going to mine out of this main soon. He's not going to have the mineral count nor the income that Sacsri currently has across 4 bases. Yeah. But at the same time, Sacsri may die before that comes into effect. So, I mean, it's really balanced on the knife's edge right now, and who's going to quite take this game. As, TaeJa getting some random Widowmine shots there from the backside.
Yeah. The 3-3 is going to finish, but it is a 3-base attack from TaeJa, you're right. If he can keep the pressure up and use those upgrades well, the main can be a 4th. It's always possible. Oh!
That was a really nice, like, Widowmine bait. That wasn't even on purpose, I think. That was just, like, a really sick coincidence, but Despite all of this, Sacsri's still bleeding out more Mutalisks. He's lost 20 so far. He's left with very little left. And, of course, it's the question of, are there more Banelings? And every time we look at this, he's just making more Lings. The Banelings have always been used up. And, sadly, 3-3 Marines are just going to keep trading really well for, well, the rest of the game.
I guess he wasn't on all 8 of his gases. He's just now taking the 8th one, you know, because Sacsri has a lot of money and didn't have a lot of gas. Now it's starting to even back up, but he has, you know, yeah, been lacking on those Banelings. I still don't, like, I can't decide if TaeJa's, like continually going up this small ramp just seems like a bad move, but he's making it work, kind of?
Yeah, it's not able to storm in and get on top of it. I do wish he would swap the focus, maybe leave like a small contingency of units to go up that ramp and maybe focus on the 3rd or the 4th or something, but does TaeJa even know about the 4th? Actually, he doesn't have any idea about the 3rd or the 4th. Well, I mean, he knows about the 3rd, but he doesn't know about the 3rd or the 4th. Marauders actually, oh my god, you know, you're wondering if that ramp was good or bad. That was actually the best way to use Marauders on that ramp.
Yes, it was. But again, Sacsri did not have to go in there like that, so. I don't know. A small drop is all that's needed to take care of the 5th. Couple of Lings do pile in, but no, not in the Marauders. The Mutas need to come back just deal with the Marauders more than the Widowmines and the Medivacs.
I would agree. I mean, it's been taking so many Banelings that they just get healed up again afterwards. The Marauders have been alive for way too long, and now there's no real Baneling support to threaten the Marauders. He's got to connect to this Marine somehow, some way, but TaeJa may just have a little too much this time around. That army supply is almost doubling that of Sacsri's, and there's still an attack over here on the right side while this goes on. So simultaneously attacking everywhere, and TaeJa has cleaned up the Mutalisks. Good game is called, and TaeJa will take game number 2!
He was also on a 4th command center that was no longer, you know, really dedicated. That was, I just feel like that was so